Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, guys. I hope you guys are having a wonderful time. Another lovely Saturday. Okay, so let me know in the comments, inshallah, if you guys can see, if you guys can hear, if the sound's working, if the video is clear. Remember, that's something we're trying to perfect our video. And today's blue tea, guys. So yeah, hi brother, won't lose bros. Hi, ahla wa sahla, welcome. Sabrina Dalimi, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ding dong, ding ding. It's quiet. Yes, it's quiet, very quiet. But now inshallah it will become noisy. And hopefully inshallah you guys will write in the comments that you guys can hear me. You guys can, the video is amazing, mashallah. The syncing, the sound with the video is just phenomenal. Right, so like I said, guys, today is blue tea. And mashallah, jazakallah khair, thank you very much to you guys for, encouraging me to drink this blue tea. I don't know any of the benefits of the blue tea, but it does make me kind of feel a bit more energetic. And I've still got to make the matcha tea. So matcha tea I was supposed to make it today, but I was watching a lot of tutorials on it. So hopefully, inshallah, maybe after the live stream I'll do it, or maybe later on, inshallah, maybe tomorrow, inshallah. Yeah, most likely tomorrow is going to be. Okay, so let's see. Is this streaming? Let's see if this is streaming. Is it streaming? Yep, excellent, streaming. Right, so wa alaikum assalam. Hi, Khan, ahla wa sahlan. Welcome. Arnaud, ahla wa sahlan. Wa alaikum assalam. Ahla wa sahlan. Asim al Hanafi, yep, ahla wa sahlan. Welcome. Shah, assalamu alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, bro. Hadika wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. How are you, Sheikh? I'm very well, thank you very much. How are you? How are you enjoying your Saturday? Your nice Saturday chill out. Today was a nice weather in Birmingham. I don't know where everyone else is from. But hopefully, inshallah, the weather was good where you guys were as well. Alright, so should we start? I think we should start, yeah. Okay, so Shah, can I ask, do letters of the Arabic have meanings? According to majority of the scholars, yes, they do have meanings. And I've actually made a series. If you check out my series, I've actually explained a lot of the meanings. I made a series on Quranic words in depth. It's called Quranic Words in Depth. Devin, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, ahla wa sahlan. Welcome. Okay, so let's start. I think we should start with the questions, and then we'll see what you guys are going to ask today. All right, so let's start with the curious cat then. Okay, questions. Okay, so first question is Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Fellow Patan here. Yeah, mashallah. What's the ruling on conventional mortgages, particularly in the UK? By conventional, I assume you mean interest-based mortgages. So the ruling is, according to many of the scholars, it's impermissible. However, out of necessity, if there is no other sort of like possible way of collecting that kind of money to be able to buy the house, then it would be permissible if it's just for your purchase. Right, next, what is the true Aqidah? True Aqidah is whatever is in the Quran. That's what the true Aqidah is. Can I go to hell if I'm in the wrong school of Aqidah for a while from the 73 sects? Inshallah, you will not. If you if you hold fast to the Quran, inshallah, then your aqidah will be true, inshallah. The issue with this kind of like 73 sects, this, first of all, this hadith is, according to many scholars, it's not really strong enough to be able to take as a hadith for like aqidah. And then it kind of creates this doubt when people just thinking, who's the 73 sects? Are we going to go hell? Are we going to go heaven? And then Muslims just spend their entire life just arguing over which sect you're in. And so it defeats the whole purpose of following the Quran, following the words of the Prophet ﷺ. Yeah, so this is why, as long as what the majority of the Muslims understand to be Islam, as long as you follow that, then inshallah you'll be on the right path. Okay. Right, next. Salams, I was wondering, what is the difference between a Wahhabi and a Hanafi? As I want some points to defend myself when people say I'm Wahhabi. So I think Wahhabi is like a slur people use. It kind of refers to someone who follows the movement of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, who was a guy in Saudi Arabia about 200-300 years ago, and he started a movement where he began to take over places, and he began to like implement a very like what's the word for it? A very sort of new way of looking at aqidah, understanding, and then they call them the Wahhabi. Hanafi has got nothing to do with that. Hanafi is to do with fiqh. Yeah, Hanafi is to do with following a school of fiqh. Right, and if you want to know more about this, I've actually got a video on my YouTube channel. Is called The History of the Madhabs. Yeah, History of the Madhabs. It explains what a madhab is, how a madhab started, and what's the significance of a madhab when it comes to Islamic fiqh. Right, so they're two separate things. Okay, let's check out some questions here. Can you recommend any books on the meanings of the letters? Yes, there are some Arabic ones. I don't know about any English ones, but there are many Arabic ones. So Arabic dictionaries first. I don't know. Can you read Arabic, Shah? That's the thing. If you can read Arabic, then there's quite a few. Sayf al-Tawheed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Ahla wa sahlan. Sayf al-Tawheed. Is it jaiz for men and women to curl their hair? Yes, there wouldn't be anything wrong with curling. As long as, because curling of the hair, some people just naturally have curly hair. Right, so it's just like having a design on the hair. If that particular type of curling of the hair is like specific to one of the genders, then that would not be allowed. Right, so the other gender would not be allowed to have that. Otherwise, it'd be fine. Ruqayya, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahla. Someone said it's haram wearing hijab in front of family. It's haram wearing hijab in front of family. No, I've never heard that before. No, I've never come across that. What about Sufi? Can you tell us about them? So when the term Sufi is mentioned, Sufi is a very generic term that's mentioned. Like generally Sufi sort of like refers to someone who's trying to get close to Allah. Yeah, so that's the term. And over history, some people have like abused this. People are trying to get close to Allah. Some people are doing it in a very deviant way. Some people are trying to do it in a more sort of like a more sort of traditional way. So this is why Sufi is a very big term. So there are people who claim to be Sufi who are deviant. There are people who claim to be Sufi and who are, on the right path. Yeah, what we understand to be the right path. So it's just a term that's used for people who are trying to get closer to Allah. And it's kind of like trying to adopt certain ways in trying to achieve this. Right? So for example, like maybe having certain rules to follow in the day. So they say that if you follow these certain rules, it will speed up your process to get closer to Allah. For example, like, reading certain adhkar. It's like that basically. So remember, I always mention about the issue of the tasawwuf, kind of having like a mentor or tasawwuf or a peer or something like that. It's all to do with about training, spiritual training basically. So these Sufi orders are basically like different attempts to try and get the best sort of method to try to improve your like benefit of your dhikr of Allah. Try to do the dhikr in such a way that it's the most optimum, and try to do the sort of like abstaining from sins. Try to implement those things in your day and night so that you stay away from sins better. So that's what it basically is. Sheikh, I was reading a book and saw the word tarikh with a dhamma at the beginning of a sentence. Wouldn't it need al in front of a dhamma to be an indefinite noun? With a dhamma at the beginning of a sentence. Tarikhun. Tarikhu. Yeah, if it's a mudaf, then it's fine. So what was the word after it? Most likely it's a mudaf. Because tarikh means history, so history of something. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa sahlan, Amina, and everyone else. Hope everyone's well. Mufti Saab, do we have a concept of excommunication in Islam? For instance, I've heard that anyone who commits suicide, their janazah isn't done. Similarly, I've heard that women who don't marry also will be buried without janazah. No, that's not. So excommunication is that what you mean is that all of the people just stop any interaction with them. This is like this. You would possibly say for an open murtad, an open person who has committed apostasy in the Muslim community. There can be to a degree excommunication with them. Like you can't buy from them, you can't sell from them, you can't marry with them, because they're gonna basically be imprisoned, and then other punishments will be carried out on them. So that's why, in that sense, yeah. But otherwise, someone who commits suicide, then it's not that their janazah is not prayed, it's that the leader of the community will not pray their janazah, just to show that this kind of act isn't an act which people should ever try to do. Otherwise, no, other Muslims will pray their janazah. And as for a woman that's not married, I've never heard that before. Don't know who come up with that one. Masood, ahlan wa sahlan. Masood, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. Shah, yes. So basically, there are some books. Check out this book. If you look in the videos that I've made, in the description, I've actually put some books there, some links and some books. And those are books that I use as well. So for example, Al-Mu'jam Al-Ishtiqaqi, Mu'jam Al-Ishtiqaqi, Mu'jam Fasl Al-Ishtiqaqi, yeah, is one which is a very, very good one. You got Raghib Al-Isfahani, Mufradat Al-Quran, and then you got many of the Mufassirin. Yeah, they talk about these kind of like letters and their meanings, and dictionaries usually. Arabic with Suhail, ahlan wa sahlan, wa alaikum assalam. Can you recommend a good beard oil, please? I can show you the one that I use. What I'll do is I'll take a picture, I'll put it onto my social media, just to show you guys the beard oil that I use. But I can't really recommend, because I haven't really tried many out to be able to recommend. But the one that I use, I can definitely show you that. I don't know the name of it from the top of my head though. Asim al-Hanafi, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Regarding the Hanafi position on sujood as-sahw, is the strongest opinion to do 2 salams with tashahhud, a single salam to the right, then sujood, then tashahhud, then the final salam? I've never seen this being done in a jama'ah, and the other 3 madhahib only do 1 taslim. So if leading prayer with others, should one do 1 salam? Yeah, according to majority of Hanafis, 1 salam. Imam Hidayah, he opts for 2 salams. Some of the Hanafis do say there's 2 salams, then you do tashahhud, then you do sajda sahw. Otherwise, others later on, Ibn Abidin and others, they say one salam. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and then you do sajda sahw. Yes, I can read Arabic. So which books, please? Yeah, so I mentioned those. Sufyan, ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome, Sufyan. MashaAllah. How's Derby and how's things up north? MP, ahlan wa sahlan, MashaAllah. After a very long time. Yeah, and please, no nazar today, yeah? Please. I just saw your website. Which one should I start from my Arabic education, and then which ones can I follow? So if you start off with the Quranic Arabic 17 lessons, that's the best place to start. Yeah, Quranic Arabic 17 lessons. Check that out, inshallah. If we bought an item in the sale and they have exchange only policy for sale items, so we exchange the item for a full priced item, then returned full price item to get money back, as they allow returns for full price items. Can we do this, or is it cheating the system? Right now, in-store fitting rooms are closed due to COVID, so no choice but to buy item, guessing if it will fit. Okay, so let me understand this correctly. So you buy something which is half price. You exchange the item for a full price item, and then return the full price item. Yeah, so if they allow it, that's fine. I mean, as long as this is their policy, that's totally fine. That's not cheating the system at all, because you're not deceiving them. Yeah, it's working within. So they're, for example, like they are, in fiqh, you call this like a kind of, they're wavering, you can say. Yeah, so they're wavering the extra price. So this would be totally permissible. As long as it's in their policy, that's the main thing. So when it comes to muamalat, the main thing to remember in buyu is, it's as long as the other party is happy, as long as there's mubadaratul mali bil mal, so there's no haram like ingredient in the contract, and there's mutual consent agreement, then it's fine. I've heard some people say that if Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah said about his contemporaries that they are men, so we are men, as in he doesn't need to follow them blindly, then why can't our scholars today do that? Why have restricted fiqh to 4 schools? Yeah, so this is a good question. So this actually goes back to the whole concept of adhering to a madhab. So Imam Abu Hanifa, when he was explaining, when someone asked him, like, what's your approach in your research? What do you do? So he goes, I first follow the Quran. If there's anything in the Quran, I take that first. He goes, if I don't find in the Quran, I take what's in the Hadith, meaning the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If I don't find anything in the Sunnah, then I take from the opinions of the Sahaba, and I choose whichever one I see. And then after them, meaning at the era of the Tabi'een, they're men and we're men. Meaning, because he was in the era of the Tabi'een, everyone else was at the same level. So he didn't see any religious sort of like importance for taking the opinion of a Tabi'i, as opposed to coming to your own conclusion. So he was talking about that era, basically. That's what he was talking about. Yeah. So if someone said, wouldn't it be safer to take the opinion of a Sahabi? Of course it would be. It's safer to take the opinion of a Sahabi, because they understood the deen much better. But what about Tabi'i then? Yeah, it is safe to take the Tabi'is, but if you're a Tabi'i yourself, then you don't really need to take their opinion because you've reached that level. That's what it means. And why do we have to restrict ourselves to the 4 madhabs? Well, it's because our sort of like, our understanding is that the madhab that was refined and worked upon by the early scholars is the safest approach that we can have. It was the 4 madhabs, and there were more than 4 madhabs, but the 4 madhabs were the ones that really kind of focused on improving that approach, that methodology. So if you watch my videos on history of the madhabs, I talk a little bit about this. So yeah, you can check that out, inshallah. Have you tried the matcha tea? No, I haven't tried the matcha tea. It's lying on the side. I might do it after the live stream today, or I might do it tomorrow, record it, and then show you guys, the matcha tea. Because I've been watching a lot of tutorials today. A lot of you guys sent me tutorials, so I've been going through them, trying to see, because there's so many people have made different types of tea from matcha tea. You got like the normal classical or traditional matcha tea, then you got people who have used like modern technology to make it, and then some have made lattes from it, and some have made iced teas from it, and all sorts of things. So I've got to see. What's happening. All right, next. Alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair for the comprehensive response. You're welcome, Sabrina. You're welcome. MP, as they... Okay, done that one. Kazma Taz, wa alaikum assalam. Have you read Tafsir Sa'idi? Tafsir Sa'idi. Sa'idi. Is that a modern one? Tafsir Sa'idi. Sa'idi. I don't know. If it's modern, I probably haven't read it. Hasib, assalamu alaikum, Ustad. How are you? Ahlan wa sahlan, Hasib. MashaAllah. Very good to see you. Very good. How are you? How's things going on with you? Did you enjoy today's nice weather? You're welcome, Masood. You're welcome. You're not related to Masood Ozil, the football player, are you? Another question, please. There are fantastic works on comparative fiqh such as Imam al-Nawawi's and Ibn Qudama's. Are there any equivalent by Hanafi fuqaha which compare rulings to all 4 madhahib and then conclude upon the Hanafi view? I think probably the closest you're going to get in the Hanafi madhab is you're going to get Tahawi. Yeah, so Mukhtasar al-Ma'ani, right? So Imam Tahawi's, Sharh Mani Athar. Then you've got Imam Quduri's Tajreed, which is just between Hanafis and Shafis. That's 13 volumes. Then you've got I think probably Fath al-Qadir to an extent, commentary of Hidayah to an extent, I would say, but not very, very, very detailed. Then you probably want to look at something like maybe Sharh al-Munya, Hilyat al-Muhalli or Halbat al-Mujalli. Maybe that, I think, probably. Otherwise, besides that, I don't think Hanafis have written. Probably something like in a modern sort of like context. Nasb al-Raya is good, but not really kind of for madhabs. Maybe, I'm just thinking, maybe I'la Sunan. Yeah, maybe-ish. But not as detailed. Yeah, so you won't find all, because trying to do a whole survey of all madhabs is a very difficult thing. Even though those books that you mentioned, they really haven't done like a full job on it. Jazakallah for this answering question. My nanny, amma and aunties used to say that unmarried women. Yeah, I can imagine that. Aunties always say these kind of things. Salaam alaikum Yasin. Ahlan wa sahlan Yasin. How is South Africa? You guys are probably having nice, lovely hot weather there now, aren't you? Allowed to sell products that have passed their sell-by dates according to Hanafi madhab. Yes, so basically according to Hanafis, anything that has a benefit in society, that society is inclined towards, you can sell it, as long as it's not explicitly mentioned as being haram by the Sharia. So if it's sell-by date products are not really bad. They're not really bad. It's just that the company has a preferred date that you should use it before. So it all depends on what kind of thing obviously it is. But otherwise, yeah, as long as, because it's mal, according to Hanafis, anything that is considered to mal can be sold. Sufyan, in Turkey at the moment, they just gone into partial lockdown. Everything closed here on weekend. Oh, in Turkey. Oh, you're in Turkey? In Turkey at the moment. Oh. Inna lillah. So it's not a very nice holiday on, bro. Hope the lockdown opens. So Saif al-Tawheed, yes Sheikh, the beginning of the book was Tarikhu Qudama. Okay, Tarikh, so that's what it is then. So Tarikh is mudaf, Qudama al-Misriyin is mudaf ilayh. So this is why word Tarikh had a dhamma. Yeah, if you could explain this a bit. So if you actually do my course, I've done a 17 lessons Quranic Arabic course, because this is like a Nahu rule and it would take a bit of time to explain, and I would need a board to kind of explain these kind of things. So I actually explain this in my Quranic Arabic 17 lessons. I explain all these rules, very easy. Yeah, and many people have done this course. It's £50 the entire courses, and this rule I've explained it in a lot of detail. So again, the details are below in the bar going across. Jazakallah khair, Amina. Guys, I have to say, if you want to learn Hanafi Usul, then you have to do Mufti Saab's Usul Shashi course. It's just alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And so inshallah soon the Nurul Anwar course will be coming out as well, inshallah, once it's edited. Crypto, Assalamu alaikum. How reliable is the book Kitab al-Fitan by Nu'aym bin Hammad? Are the hadith in it sahih? Is it taught like Bukhari and Muslim? I haven't really gone through it. I wouldn't be able to comment on that one. I haven't really gone through it. But generally the rule is that the Kitab al-Fitan, usually Fitan, hadith related to Fitan are usually mostly weak. That's the issue with them. A lot of them are weak. So Nu'aym bin Hammad's Fitan, I haven't really gone through it. I wouldn't be able to say. Rival Mufti, please provide strong advice on controlling feelings towards crushes, asking for a friend. Just tie yourself up, bro. Yeah, just tell your friend to tie himself up and to control his feelings. I mean, these kind of things are, people have to kind of learn how to train themselves when it comes to personal sort of inclinations and desires. It's a very difficult thing to do, definitely, but you have to kind of observe yourself and notice your patterns that you have. So what kind of, when do you have these strong urges? Is it because after you eat something? Is it after you sleep, or when you're kind of feeling down or something? Or is it when you're alone? You can kind of work out your patterns, and then once you got your patterns, then you can easily try to overcome your that kind of like, difficulty that you're feeling. That's what I would say. But otherwise, tell your friend, this is something that all of us have to control our desires as best as possible. Yasin, how different was Abu Yusuf's opinions from Abu Hanifa? Some of them were very different. So some of them. So for example, like you might have Imam Abu Yusuf inclining to, like Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah saying, like let's say, I'm trying to find an example where it's totally different from, like for instance, there's a lot of examples in mu'amalat in buyu that you get. So for example, Abu Yusuf had an opinion that the khiyar al-shart is as many days as you like, whereas Abu Hanifa said no, it's only 3 days. Yes, only 3 days. There's actually a good book, it's called Ta'sis al-Nadhr by Imam Dabusi, where he lists like a whole list of masail where Abu Yusuf goes against Abu Hanifa. It's not exhaustive, but it's a good to have like a survey sort of understanding. Sabrina, it's all an art to mix, etc. Matcha latte is yani nasty, or is yani yummy? Okay, let's check out some questions over here on Curious Cat. Alright, so can you ask Mufti Saab के नफल हाजत और नफल शुक्राना नबी पाक से साबित है या नहीं? तो इस मसले के बारे में, so those people who ask masalas in Urdu, shall I answer them in Urdu or shall I do it in English? What do you guys say? So I'll come back to this question. Those questions that people ask in Urdu, shall I answer them in Urdu or shall I answer them in English? You guys let me know, inshallah. Okay, next. Do you know where someone can do traditional Islamic studies courses like Dars Nizami, English, Arabic outside the US, UK? I'm not really sure of any institutes, but I can give you some like rough understanding. So for example, like in France, there's the Chateau. And then you go to maybe Turkey. Turkey has quite a few new institutes that have opened up. So if you ask around, you probably find somewhere that you can go there. There's actually some scholarships as well going around over there to do master's degrees. I was just talking to someone last week about that. And then you have like some traditional places in Jordan, right? In Jordan, there's some places there as well. I'm not sure about Yemen. I probably won't be able to go to Yemen. But then you got like Indian subcontinent there. Then you go on this side, you got Egypt, Morocco. So you got quite a few places that do traditional sciences. Okay. Someone just said Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam. Assalamu alaikum. I wanted to ask, how does an adult go about studying alim class full time? So all you have to do is just find the place that's doing it full time and join up. I'd like to do the full time after I finish uni, but I also need to work and want to get married. So how does one work it out? So for some people it's going to work and for some it won't work. That's an unfortunate thing. So if a person is going to obviously get marriage, and then you got to make sure that you're able to provide for your family and then also study, which can become very tricky to juggle. So I'm not going to like kind of lie. Not everyone can do full time. Basically, I think you've got to have a certain level of commitment if you really want to do it. It's like, for example, trying to push a car that won't start. So if you're going to be pushing a car and then you give up and you say, you know what, it's like one of those ones. You either got to give it all you've got or you just don't give it. So full time is not one of those things where you can get through it. If it's a full time institute that doesn't really kind of have a good standard of education, like they don't really kind of ensure that the students are learning at a high level, then a lot of people can just get through them. You can qualify in a 5 or 6 year course easily in the UK in some places. But that I wouldn't recommend that, because that's just waste of money, a waste of time. So if you wanna do it, you're gonna have to give it everything. So I would say if you are serious about doing it after uni, you gotta have a serious mind that you're gonna focus on that, because you've got to put in a lot of extra work. It's not just the hours. So if your class hours is just, for example, so far we have full time 9 till 2 the classes are. But then after that, you have to put your own time in. Like I would say at least 3 hours a day after that. At least 3 hours a day. So if you can dedicate that much time, inshallah, then you can do it. I know there's part-time courses, but they are more watered down. Yeah, definitely. Is it true that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had a pet cat? I wouldn't say it's a pet. Like what we understand as a pet is something that we own and we have. But if you understand it as there was cats that used to come to him and he would feed them or give them water. Yeah, I mean, in that sense, yeah, he would take care of like animals, definitely. But this understanding of pets like we have today, right? That, you know, you take it to the vet and you have your own pet and then it comes to your house and you take care of it. And I don't think they had that kind of concept in the same way that we have in our culture. Okay, let's check out some questions in the chat box. See what you guys. All right, so Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi Damyo. Ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. Adim, Assalamu alaikum. Salam, Imam. Shamas put me in touch with the Learn How to Read Quran videos. I'm now able to read Quran and inshallah I'm beginning to memorize it. Jazakallah khair. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. May Allah put barakah in your learning and your understanding of the Quran and bring you closer to Him and to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, what to do for missed prayers. So missed prayers, I would say, look, try your best to make them up. Have yourself a system where you slowly are making them up. Maybe like every day with every salat that you pray, make up one missed prayer of that one. So with Fajr, after you pray your Fajr, just pray 2 rakats of made qadha for Fajr. After you pray a Dhuhr, pray 4 rakats. After you pray Asr, pray 4 rakats of qadha of Asr. After you pray Maghrib, 3 rakats. After Isha, like that. If you do that every single day, inshallah, you know, even if you die, it will be counted in your deeds that you are making up those good the missed prayers. Damyo, how do you take good notes? It all depends. I mean, don't use one method for making notes. Different methods. Some people need to use sticky notes. Some people need to make like spider diagrams. Some people need to make like take pictures on their phone and keep it stored in their phone and they go through them. Some people will condense their notes. Some people rewrite their notes. Some people use different colors for their notes. So it's all up to you, I would say. I mean, for me, different things work for different times. Hasib, alhamdulillah, just got back from work. Ahlan wa sahlan. Hope you had a non-tiring day at work today. There is a hadith of Rasulullah to the effect that even if the last hour comes and anyone's holding a tree seed, they should plant it in answer. There are hadith saying that live in this world like a traveler, one encouraging an action, other not caring much about dunya. How do we understand the hadith? Yeah, so basically the two hadith can be reconciled. So like the hadith which says that if you're in the end of time and you have a sapling, then just plant your sapling. And the other hadith says live in this world as though you're a traveler. Kun fi dunya ka'annaka gharib or abir as-sabil. So it's looking at different aspects of your life. In other words, when it comes to benefiting your own community, then do as much as you can. But when it comes to thinking to yourself how long you're going to be in this world for, then just try to understand that you're not going to be here for a long time. Yeah, so it's that kind of mentality. So if there's a person, for instance, who thinks they're going to live in the world for a very long time, that means that person's going to spend on their house loads and they're going to spend on their car loads and they're going to spend, right? So they're not really going to be very financially, they're not going to be very sort of like, what's the word? They're not going to be very mature with their spending, right? I would say mature with their spending. So this is why when it comes to this kind of like Islam teaches people, look, to understand you're going to die one day. Just be prepared for that. Always have it in the back of your mind. You are going to leave this world. So anyone who has this mentality would always know not to spend too much on things that are not really that important. And then they'll use that money for investing in their children, investing in their family, investing in their community. So it's that kind of mentality. And then at the same time, you should spend on yourself definitely so that you can live in this world as well. So it's like having a balance. So the hadith, to me, they're not contradicting. I don't see the contradiction in them. Asim, jazakallah khair wa iyyakum. By the way, just curious, do you watch football? Very rarely. I'm not too much into watching sports. I rather play sports. Okay, if you were already a member of an online shop and there was an offer of £10 off if you joined as a new member, so you signed up with a new email and bought items and got £10 off, is that permissible? Because you're not really a new member. You just wanted to benefit. Yeah. So first of all, I congratulate you for teaching me all these new tricks. Thank you very much, and just keep them coming. Secondly, transactions all work based upon terms and conditions, like I mentioned earlier. As long as they're happy with it, as long as they know this can be done, and this is not really cheating the system, right? Because as a new member, they would say, in order for you to be a new member, you would have to sign in with a new email, right? That's fine. So that would be counted as a new member. Yeah. So as many times as you've done it, it would be fine. It wouldn't be cheating the system anyway, unless they explicitly mention, in the contract. In that case, it would be morally, it'd be wrong. But I assume they don't mention that. Okay, Ruqayya, these ingredients in the tea cup can be harmful to your health. Heavy metals and study by Journal of Toxicology that classic teas have a high... Oh, that's it now. I've been feeling this kind of like chest pains when I play badminton. Okay, so now you've been telling me this. Don't tell me. If you tell me harms, then that's it. I won't be able to buy that tea then. You got to tell me benefits. Too much lead in the body can cause heart and kidney problems. Inna Allah. I'm just making dua that matcha have not put lead in their teas, and this doesn't look like lead, but it does look like someone was mentioning window cleaner. So I think window is probably closer to window cleaner. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, if that's true, then Ruqayya, I'm gonna have to think twice about drinking tea, man. Damn your Urdu in Urdu, yeah, Urdu. Wow, because they don't understand English. Ah, okay. Okay, so Sabrina, it's you like soft, but you. Is that like a French kind of thing? You, oui. Because a bit we. So best to add honey, it gets balanced. Yeah, so me, I'm a guy who kind of acquires the taste. I'm an acquired taster. Didn't you say that you're going to do a live stream in Urdu? Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Aha. All right. Okay, so I'll answer this one in Urdu then. Let's just check the question out again. Question was कि नफल हाजत और नफल शुक्राना नबी पाक से साबित है या नहीं. सो नफल हाजत का मतलब ये है कि एक आदमी है, वो कोई इनके मतलब दिन में या ज़िंदगी में कुछ मसला उसको पेश आ जाए, तो इसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए. तो उसके लिए ये है कि वो 2 रकात नमाज पढ़े, 2 रकात नफल, और उसके बाद वो अल्लाह ताला से अपने हाजत मांग ले. और इसमें भी कुछ रिवायात में भी एक मखसूस दुआ भी साबित है, तो ये भी पढ़ सकते हैं. और दूसरा ये है कि शुक्राना. सो शुक्राना वो एक मतलब ये जो है ना, ये कुरान से भी साबित है कि वो जो जब आदमी अल्लाह ताला का शुक्र अदा करना चाहते हैं, तो उसके लिए मुख्तलिफ़ सूरतें हैं. एक सूरत यह है कि वो 2 रकात नमाज़ पढ़ ले. एक सूरत यह है कि वो सिर्फ ज़बान से वो शुक्र अदा करे. और एक है कि वो सदक़ा भी गरीबों को सदक़ा दे. तो इसके मुख्तलिफ़ सूरतें हो सकते हैं. हाँ, तो दोनों साबित है. मतलब एक ख़ास हदीथ, इसके लिए कोई ख़ास हदीथ आपको नहीं मिलेगा, लेकिन आप मतलब मुख्तलिफ़ अहादीस के रोशनी में और आयात के रोशनी में आपको जवाब मिलेगा इंशाल्लाह. हाँ, दोनों साबित हैं. ओके, नेक्स्ट. अस्सलामु अलैकुम रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. Okay, let's just right. So assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My mother is demanding that I rebuild the house for them back home. The issue is that that house is not in my father's name. His siblings have share in it too. So if I build, I could be left out of the pocket if they ask for their future share. I send monthly money for my parents for food and medicine. Am I being a bad son and disobeying my mother if I refuse in Islam? And am I allowed to refuse my parents? So, I mean, the truth, I haven't heard both sides of the story. So whenever it comes to issues which are disputes between people, you have to listen to both sides of the story to understand the bigger picture. Yeah. So you're telling me one side of the story, I need to hear the other side of the story to be able to come out with a more precise answer. But generally, obeying the parents is something that's necessary in Islam. But in what things do you obey the parents in? So if it comes to something which is to do with your own wealth, then it's recommended to obey the parents. But if a person was financially unable to be able to provide, or there was unfairness in their demands that they were making, then a person would not be obliged to financially support. Yeah, so if you are financially supporting your parents, but they're asking you for more for something which is clearly unfair, then you wouldn't be obliged to support them. But it would be considered to be recommended to fulfill their request. But like I said, hearing it from both sides would be the ideal thing. Okay. All right, next. Assalamu alaikum, Mr. Zaman. Wa alaikum assalam. I recently found out that Hadith Bukhari, volume number 4, book number 55, and number 567 is authentic. I have a hard time interpreting this hadith. To my understanding, says that for every Muslim there are 999 Gog and Magog tribe, and thus coming to my question, are there really currently over approximately 1.8 trillion billion Muslims of the Gog and Magog? I was told a hadith scholar could help me interpret this hadith. I've only had one person who said that it was true, and if you agree, I would like to know, how does the tribe sustain itself, and how? Okay, so I'm not sure I understand the last part. Okay, so when it comes to this hadith, there is a hadith, and this hadith actually, I'll just read this hadith out to you guys, because this is a hadith in Sahih Bukhari, and the hadith says this: the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah will say on the day of resurrection, O Adam. Adam will reply, Labbaik wa sa'daik, and all the good is in your hand. Allah will say, bring out the people of the fire. Adam will say, O Allah, how many are the people of fire? Allah will reply, from every 1,000 take out 999. At that time, children will become hoary-headed. Every pregnant female will have a miscarriage, and one will see mankind as drunk. Yet they will not be drunk, but dreadful will be the wrath of Allah. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ asked, O Allah's Apostle, who is the exempted one? He said, rejoice with glad tidings. One person will be from you, and 1,000 will be from Gog and Magog. The Prophet further said, by him in whose hands my life is, hope that you will be 1/4 of the people of paradise. We shouted, Allahu Akbar. He added, I hope that you will be 1/3 the people of paradise. We shouted, Allahu Akbar. He said, I hope that you will be half of the people of paradise. We shouted, Allahu Akbar. He further said, you Muslims are like a black hair in the skin of a white ox, or like the white hair in the skin of a black ox. Okay, so see this kind of a hadith. This hadith comes under what we call the mutashabihat, meaning it comes under those hadith, those statements of the Prophet ﷺ that we don't really know the full reality of it. We don't understand the full reality. And this is something that we have to be very careful of how we approach. Similar to, for example, like in the Quran, when Allah mentions certain things which are uninterpretable, right, to do with Himself. So, for example, like the hand of Allah, or Allah istawa al-arsh, or the face of Allah. These kind of verses, which are verses that are not, in essence, something that we can easily interpret. So this is the same thing. What does it mean by from every human being there's going to be 999 Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog? What does that mean? We don't know. Is it going to be a one-off thing? Is it going to be for every human being that ever walks the face of the earth? Is it only for the Sahaba? Yeah, is it? So what is this? So because we don't know the reality of these kind of hadith, we accept their authenticity, that the way that they reached us, we say that this hadith is authentic in its reliable in its being transmission, in its being transmitted, but its interpretation, we don't know. It's all speculation at the end of the day, right? So this is why, we just leave it as that, and we don't kind of go any further with this. And some people, okay, they try to interpret these things. Allah has told us in the Quran things like, they ask you about the soul, say that this is from the knowledge of my Lord, and no one knows it except for a few people. Only a few know what the reality of the soul is. So that means there are going to be certain things in our religious texts which are going to be difficult for us to be able to understand the reality of, because we're human beings and our understanding is very restricted, right? Because we're humans, we have restricted senses, we have restricted limited type of intellect that we have. So therefore we can't understand things that are beyond our understanding. And those narrations that reached us, when the Prophet ﷺ, maybe he said it to the Sahaba, maybe he said some extra things that wasn't reported in the Hadith, that could also happen. So this is why these types of Hadith are Hadith which we call the mutashabihat. And we don't have to deal with, like, if there is one for every 999, you pull out the calculator and then you start working out, okay, today there's 1.7 billion Muslims in the world, let's multiply that by 9. No, you don't do that. That doesn't even make sense, because that's based on the understanding that this Hadith is exactly saying what you've understood, right? Which may be the case, may not be the case. Most likely it's not the case. And there were some scholars, for example, like, you know, some scholars, this was like, I think in Pakistan, some physicists, what they tried to do was they tried to work out the temperature of Jahannam. Now it sounds absurd. So they've taken some hadith which indicate that Jahannam is going to be 70 times hotter than the hottest fire on earth, in this world. So they've tried to find the hottest fire in this world and they multiplied that by 70. Now again, that's absurd, that is, because you don't know what the hottest fire in this world is. Like, it's not necessarily the fire on earth. It could be the fire inside the earth's crust. It could be the fire on a different planet. It could be the fire in a different part of the universe. We don't know exactly what that means. So attempting to try and to mathematically work out and understand things in hadith of that nature, metaphysical nature, you know, it's something that people should avoid absolutely. Okay. Did you find any problems or questionable parts in the Kitab al-Madrasa al-Hanbaliya? Is it a good overall representation of? Yes, I think it's a very good representation of Athari school. I don't have any sort of issues with it. I think you should read the book yourself. You know, the thing is, a lot of people, I think they have a fear of reading books on their own. And I would say, just read them. Yeah, just read the book on your own. If you have any questions, you can ask a reliable scholar that you trust to explain things to you. Otherwise, what tends to happen is people are relying too much on second-hand and third-hand knowledge. Second-hand, third-hand knowledge. And this is where a lot of sort of disputes can arise. Yeah, you can have many disputes about this. Okay, so we have run a question. Are we allowed to participate in food challenges, such as finishing large amounts of food in the quickest possible time? I have stayed away because it could be viewed as gluttony, but I only want to so it as a form of entertainment and challenge. Of course, I will make sure not to waste any food. This is a tough question. This is because you're right. It's a kind of like gluttony, isn't it? It's like greed. It's like overeating, and the Quran clearly mentions about, you know, israf as well. And you know, there's narrations where it's mentioned about people should have moderation in their food. So these kind of things, I'm kind of like against these kind of things personally. I don't think Muslims should be doing these kind of things from a moral point of view, because our religion is about this idea of having a balance and moderation. And then when people start doing this, if it's like a one-off thing, okay, that's fine. I mean, but if it's like a person has made it their sort of like thing that they're going to do everywhere, and they're just going to eat loads, and they're going to, you know, just kind of like just show off. It's a showing off kind of thing. Then I think it should be avoided. Yeah, I wouldn't really encourage. I mean, if there's someone else that thinks that, you know, it should be, there's nothing wrong in Islam, I find it very hard to accept that. I can't think of, like, in my head, I can't think of a categorical dalil, proof to say that this is totally wrong. But it's just the way that the evidences seem to indicate that this is a thing that Muslims shouldn't be doing. It doesn't befit Muslims. There's some things that are not necessarily haram to do, but it's just they're not good for Muslims to do. Like, they're not right for Muslims to do. And sometimes the Prophet ﷺ would say this to people. Sahaba would say this as well. Like, a Muslim would do this. A Muslim shouldn't be doing these kind of things. Okay, let's check out some questions here then. Right. So, Khadija, what kind of questions are asked in hadith exams like at Sufa? It all depends what book it is. Yeah, it all depends what book, who the teacher is, you know, how they teach the book. Like, for example, if it's my kind of hadith book, Tirmidhi or Abu Dawood, I probably most likely would be asking questions which are focused a lot on chains of hadith, understanding the aims and objectives of the author. Those kind of things that I look for. Ma'moon, ahlan wa sahlan wa alaikum assalam, dear Mufti Sahab. Can you mention names of some living top names when it comes to hadith scholars? Yes. So some top names today would be people like Maulana Akram Nadawi. Yeah, Dr. Akram Nadawi, I would say. And also, who else is there? There's Mufti Shabir. Yeah, from is he still in Bury? Yeah, Mufti Shabir. I think those are the two that I have heard quite a lot of. Yeah, and I've read some of their works as well. So I think those are two that I would highly recommend. I mean, I can't really say about other people because either I haven't really kind of seen their expertise, or I don't really know them that well to be able to say anything about hadith. Yeah, so those are the two that I would say I would highly recommend, definitely. And there might be others out there, but it's just that I don't really kind of know about them that well. Wusab, don't you feel that there should be some sort of an aptitude test for selecting students for Alimiyah? Definitely, 100%. 100%. There should be strict regulation. But the problem is now, a lot of the madrasas cannot have this at the moment because it's just they can't, like, if they had funding, if a madrasa had separate funding that they would have paid for the salary of all the teachers, all the sort of like maintenance of the building and everything else, then I definitely agree that there should be screening. Students should be screened, and only those who are capable of doing the Alimiyah course can get into it. Not everyone. But at the moment, it's like a lot of places just take people on because that's the only way that they can run, really. Some of these students take hours to understand simple masail, which makes me wonder how far they'll go as a scholar. Should they be doing some? I mean, the thing is, some people are slow, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the aptitude. So I think some people, slowness isn't a problem, because I've seen some people who might have been slow when they were studying, but they are very, very good when it comes to teaching, or very good when it comes to research. Yeah, so it just kind of like all depends, I think. Sabrina, what is the opinion for a woman who wants to work but the employers don't like the hijab, for example? For me, I don't want to compromise, but people say I should take it off. I don't. I mean, your situation in France is different, isn't it? So I think in France, it's best to ask a scholar in France who knows your situation, because with all the rules and regulations, with the hijab from the government, I think it's very difficult for a person outside of France to give the right answer for this. So what I would say is the best thing to do about this question is ask a scholar, a reputable scholar in France, for the answer for this. Because generally, I mean, if you ask me in the UK, then no, it wouldn't be permissible for a person to compromise anything in their religion which is necessary for their work, because there's lots of opportunity to get other types of jobs. Yeah, so there's like jobs, online jobs you can get, or you can get in other fields. But I think because the situation in France is quite different from the UK, best to ask them. And this is how I encourage people to do. Do not ask international fatwas from scholars internationally unless it's an international issue. Sharif, ahla wa sahla wa alaikum assalam. Both languages may be relevant to all. Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. Do you understand Urdu? Are you like an Urdu man? Mamoon, alaikum assalam. Dear Musab, can you kindly mention some top hadith scholars? Okay, I'll answer that one. Far they'll go as a scholar. Okay, no. What's up? My neighbors has a dog. Whenever azan is called, he starts to cry each time. What can we do about this situation? By the way, my neighbor's auntie is Qadiani. I have no idea. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it needs to go to the vet or something. Maybe it's having a problem. Sometimes the pitch of the volume of the adhan might be hurting the dog's ears. It happens with animals. I don't know. I mean, I don't really have any sort of like. It doesn't mean that the dog is going through some problems or anything. Could just be just how the dog kind of behaves. So it has nothing to do with Islam or Qadianism or anything like that. Ustad, for men, it's impermissible to look at the satar of a woman eyed. That the same for women as they seem to be watching men's sports. So for men, obviously, for women, if men is between the navel and knees. Yeah, so women cannot look at the area between a man's navel and his knees. Below that and above that, it would be permissible. But if there is obviously, desire and lust behind it, then she can't look. She's not allowed to look even at that, like a man's chest or a man's, shins. If there's desire and lust, if there's no desire and lust, then it would be permissible as long as it's not between the navel and the knees. Hey Ali, assalamu alaikum. What techniques can I use to improve my memorization when it comes to learning Arabic vocabulary? So, what you can do is, have you tried flashcards? Try flashcards. Write down, have flashcards with you, piece of paper, and write down a word in Arabic on the other side in English. And every day, try to write 5 down for yourself. And then test yourself, and the ones that you're kind of good at, put them to one side. And the ones that you're finding difficulty with, just keep going over them every day, a few times a day. Then you love matcha taste. It's special, very herby taste. Yes, inshallah, I will love it. I can already, my mind is already sort of like getting me accustomed to it. Wa alaikum assalam, Maji. Ahlan wa sahlan. Jazakallah khair, MP, for the answers. Jazakallah khair, MP, for the tricks and techniques. Ruqayya, I'm just saying because I saw men in TV too. He's drunk his whole life tea and his skin turned blue. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. That guy, basically, he drank a chemical. Yeah, so he drank a chemical. It's a well-known kind of guy in America, if it's the same guy. So I can't remember what chemical he drank, and it permanently changes pigmentation into blue. So if I drink this and I turn blue, guys, yeah, imagine that. Actually, blue color might look good, doesn't it? Molvi, blue Molvi. Might have a new name for the channel. Yasin, assalamu alaikum. What did the great Imam say about the riwayah on Bawl Ibil, camel's urine? So camel's urine, it actually appears in a hadith. And we were talking about this, if anyone watched the the podcast yesterday. And we had brother Muhammad from Mecca. And he was telling us about in Saudi, so this drinking of the camel's urine, the Prophet ﷺ, in one narration, there's only one narration where he advised some men to drink camel's urine as a cure, as a remedy. And they drank it and they got better. So this is why majority of the scholars say drinking camel's urine is fine. Abu Hanifa and Abu Yusuf say no, you can't drink it. Abu Yusuf says you can drink it for medicine. Abu Hanifa says you can't drink it at all because of other narrations that prohibit drinking any type of urine. And he says that basically those narrations came after. Yeah, so that's basically what they say. Imam Muhammad says fine. Any animal that we can eat, their urine's clean, fine to consume. Aspiring, ahla wa sahlan, mashallah, jazakallah khair for your kind donation. May Allah bless you. Thank you very much. And have some tea on my behalf. So yeah, jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for your kind donation. Mashallah, makes me very happy when people, love the work that I love. Mashallah, my sister is late. She's told me she's late. Yeah, I'll just tell her. Why are you late for? Yeah, she watches my live streams as well. I don't know how many of my relatives watch my live streams. If you're my relative and you watch my live streams, say yo. Yeah, if you watch my live stream, guys. Okay. Okay, so next. Okay, I'm sorry, Sheikh. I say because I saw you drinking lots. Want to mention? Okay, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Inshallah, I might find it difficult to stop drinking tea. But if I do start turning blue, then I think I'll probably have to stop drinking the tea. Abdul Majid, also, did Arabs use the number 70 to mean many? Yes. So just like we use the word dozens, like the word dozen, which literally means 12, we use it to mean lots, not something specific. So it's like using it to mean like lots and lots and lots. The Arabs use that as well. And even in the Quran, it comes that إن تستغفر لهم 70 مرة. If you ask for, Allah says to the Prophet ﷺ, if you ask forgiveness for the hypocrites of Medina, even if you ask 70 times, Allah will never forgive them. So the Mufassirin, most of them say that this 70 doesn't mean specific number 70, that if you ask 71 times, it's like if you ask loads of times, if you asked 1,000,000 times, like we say in English, like that kind of thing. Oh, mashallah, Saeed, ahlan wa sahlan. Yo, that's it, bro. Yo, dua dre salor. Yo. I need yo, I need dua dre and my relatives, yeah. If you're on, yo, dua dre salor. So I need the yo, dua dre salor. Pinza, try to get pinza. I don't know if you'll be able to get pinza. Yeah, but if you can get pinza, then that's it, man. My weekend's done. Yeah, if we can get yo, dua dre salor pinza. Yeah, because that's how we roll. Okay, my sister has said yo as well. So we got two We got two yos. Yeah. Yeah. And Saeed send me a kiss as well. Saeed, don't worry. Yeah, it's a Pathan kiss. You know, Pathan kiss is okay. Don't worry. Okay, let's just check this out. Assalamu alaikum. Wabarakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan ID. Ahlan wa sahlan. Mufti Shabir from Jami Masjid. No, another one. That's a different one. Khadija Harun. Ahlan wa sahlan. What are the requirements for someone who wants to study in a Sufa full-time Alimiya course? I would say just as long as you can read the Quran, as long as you can read the Arabic in the Quran, and you can dedicate the time for the full time, then you can go for it. Yeah, definitely. I mean, you have to be over 16, first of all. Okay, so how are madrasas in Pakistan free? Don't they pay their teachers? Then yes, they pay their teachers, but they get their funding from other revenue. That's the thing they have over there. So they have like other revenue, for example, Janda, collection of funds throughout the year, the selling of animal cow skins throughout the year, and these kind of things. So they have like some donors who actually donate, or they give land and then they rent that land out, and the income from that land they use it to provide for the madrasa. There's like loads of kind of things out there. In the UK, they don't have that many options. Sabrina, Jazakallah khair. I'll check. Ahlan wa sahlan. Shariar. Okay, Sharif, Assalamu alaikum. Can a Muslim organization distribute or accept foods, meats given for the needy from a food bank, etc., when the needy population is majority non-Muslim, and eat that type of food anyhow? I would say it would, in that situation, there would be scope for it, yeah. I would say, because it's kind of like an issue of survival, isn't it? It's more about the issue of survival. Yeah. Yo, my brother said yo as well. That's it. We got a yo dua, we got a dre. Said, we got a yo dua and dre. That's it, bro. We got a yo dua and dre. Come on, we need a salor and pinza. Yeah, so get all our aunties together, get the whole tribe and everyone. Yeah, even in Pakistan, wake them all up. They're probably awake anyway over there at this time. Aspiring, Jazakallah khair again. Thank you very much. Means a lot, man. Means a lot. Thank you very much. And I still got to come Bradford as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I'm in the second year of the Alimiya program. Could you give any tips? It would be much appreciated. So what I would say is try to focus as much time as you can onto the books that you're studying in that particular year. So it depends what you're studying. Like for example, Nahu. If you're not understanding Nahu, watch my videos on Nahu, right, on my YouTube channel, and that will help you a lot. All right. So the kind of to spend most of your time focusing on this second year subjects. Aspiring, mashallah, jazakallah khair again. Thank you very much. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless you. Jazakallah khair, jazakallah khair. Are there any European countries which have a strong Muslim community or history behind it? Need some travel ideas. Yeah, so places like Spain, south of Spain, right? You'll see lots of Muslim architecture there, history there. Sicily, yeah, Sicily was very famous. And then going eastwards, you had Cyprus, Kubros, where there's a grave of famous Sahabiya, Haram bint Milhan. And then you have obviously Turkey, and then you have Albania, yeah, and you have Bulgaria, yeah. So all these kind of countries have a lot of Muslim sort of heritage. There might not be that many Muslims there now, but you'll find lots of historical sort of buildings there. And there's actually some tour operators that actually provide a whole touring sort of experience. I'm not sure who, but I remember before COVID, there were quite a few that popped up, and they specialized in European sort of like Islamic history. If I find something, I'll try to put it on my feed. Idris, wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan, Idris, mashallah. Sabrina, Layla, Saeeda, wa alaikum assalam. Thanks once again for all your help. Ahla wa sahlan, have a wonderful night. Salams to all your relatives. Ahlan wa sahlan, all relatives, all you guys heard. Kula plays. Wrong emoji. Perhaps I'm your far cousin too. Yes, that's it, Idris. You are our far cousin. Have you got As long as you got eyebrows like mine, then you are my far cousin, right? Because that's the signal, that's the sign. Yeah, that's the sign. Okay, from the woods. Wa alaikum assalam, ahla wa sahlan. May God's salam, peace descend upon all of you. Ahla wa sahlan from the woods. Should a student of knowledge get married early, or should he get married after completing his studies? I would say after completing his studies, but this might not be the best answer for some people, yeah? So some people might need to get married a bit early because of the circumstances. But I got married after my studies, and I think that was the best option, best choice I made. Ustad, what are the rulings on watching movies? This is not from me. People I know, I tell them it's impermissible as there is nudity, violence. Yeah, so, I mean, I've answered this question a lot, Hasib. Yeah, but I'll answer it for you. I like you, so I'll answer it again. So look, if there is any, like if you're walking down the road and you see nudity, right, what do? You turn away, don't you? If you go to shops, you see nudity, you turn away, right? It doesn't mean you don't go in the shop anymore. Or it doesn't mean you don't walk down the street anymore. Or it doesn't mean you don't go to this particular zoo anymore because you're going to see people there. So this is why if there's any nudity or anything which is like morally wrong, Islamically morally wrong, then you just fast forward it, you turn it over, that would be fine. So therefore, if a person can do that in a movie and miss these parts out, then it would be fine to watch the movie. Now, I've mentioned this answer so many times, and there are people, I think they don't like me because I answer these kind of questions in the way I'd answer them. And there are some people, unfortunately, who don't like the way that I sort of like, I think, interact on my live streams and say that it's a bit, it's not what a scholar should do. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? Do you guys think scholars should not joke around online, or they should just have straight faces and just answer questions just like that? And you guys let me know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think scholars should be normal. Like how a person should behave in their home, I think that's how people should behave, outside. I wouldn't see that as being wrong. As long as a scholar or someone isn't doing something which is like borderline haram, right? Anything like that, they should never be doing that. But otherwise, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with joking around and in that sense. As long as it's not something which is like clearly something which people should not be doing. And I know some people say scholars should have like a higher moral standard in the society. But for me, I think this is where the problem lies, when people can't relate to scholars. When they can't relate to scholars and they just think that scholars all day are just not smiling and they're just staring at the wall in their house when they go home, or they're just reading a book or something, which hasn't really kind of been, I mean, it's never been my kind of like thing all the time. I mean, so I don't know what you guys think. Yeah. And I understand if some people say, look, I would prefer if a scholar was not smiling too much and was not joking around and was very sort of like serious and harsh in the way they answer questions. And I know some people are more inclined towards it. They like that kind of thing. So I mean, I totally understand. So if some people like say to me that, look, you shouldn't be answering questions like this, or you should have more of a, I disagree with that. I mean, that's my own personal sort of thing. I disagree. All right. So let's have a look over here. So Jazakallah khair, aspiring, wonderful. You're a wonderful soul. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless your family and your wealth and your health. Abdul Majid, Andalus tour by Asufa normally annual, brothers only. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. So when they usually have it, it's very good. Shaykh Mufti Sahab, should I become a Maliki or Hanafi? By the way, I am from Pakistan because I like Maliki fiqh a lot, but in Pakistan it can become a problem for me. So what's your advice? I would say that follow the fiqh that you are more inclined towards and you can get more access to. If in Pakistan you can get more access to Hanafi fiqh, then obviously it makes sense to follow Hanafi fiqh. And if you can get access to more Maliki fiqh and it seems more appealing to you, it's more understandable, it's more easier for you to be able to adopt that, then you take that, I would say. But on the flip side, I would say I know in Pakistan, like following the Maliki fiqh can become problem in some communities, maybe because people might start accusing you of being like Shia, or accuse you of being a deviant Qadiani or something like that. Because over there, I know when people see something out of the norm, something strange, they straight away start using labels against them. So I would just be careful of that. I mean, just stick to being Hanafi. Hanafis are so nice madhab. Wa alaikum assalam. Sharif, ahlan wa sahlan. So would that lead way exit only when they need is a great COVID condition? Yes, I would say that would be the only sort of situation. Yeah, in that kind of. I mean, but I would say in that kind of question you asked, you should look at it from case by case. The homeless people, people who work with the homeless people would know, is it easy to be able to get access to halal food? That's the other question as well. Okay, Mubin Rahman, would you do a Fiqh al-Akbar series? Probably, why not? Maybe later on, inshallah. Mufti Sahab, I really enjoy your live stream, so much more relaxed. Jazakallah khair. Yes, thank you very much. I do kind of like, maybe I need to sit on the sofa over there to make it more relaxed, but yeah, I enjoy these kind of Jazakallah khair. My scholars aren't humans, so should act whatever type of creation they are. Scholars aren't humans, so should act whatever type of creation they are. Allah, bro, you are now, you've reached the next belt, in spirituality. You've reached the next belt now. That's it. You only got a few more belts left to reach black belt in spirituality. And you got, might not sound dumb, but proves that you're just like us, makes you more relatable. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Definitely. You are the most natural mufti I've ever seen. You are completely cool. MashaAllah. I just need those cool shades now. Jazakallah khair. Hasib, Ustad, for me, I believe a scholar should be normal. Alhamdulillah. When I listen to you and in the streams and in class, I enjoy. Yeah, alhamdulillah. I mean, a lot of people don't know how I am in class. In different lessons, I might be a bit different because maybe the subject requires a bit more sort of like a different mood. Yeah, so in some lessons, I might be a little bit serious. Some lessons, I might be more relaxed. It all depends on the mood of that particular subject. But yeah, Hasib, definitely. I mean, you guys haven't been my Quranic Arabic 7 in my Asufa first year Quranic Arabic class, so you guys don't know yet. I think I'm probably more relaxed there than over here. Okay, I think this answer was okay because to ban everything and be strict only, it's not easy, and I think we know what is right and what is wrong. Definitely. Hassan, what's the background behind the fifth kalima we generally learn and teach it to maktab? I don't. What is the fifth kalima? I mean, I don't even remember these kalimas. These kalimas. So what's the fifth one? I think it's an Indian subcontinent thing that they like giving numbers to things. So it's like Pehla kalima la ilaha illallah. That's the first kalima, and then it's like second kalima ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika ashhadu anna Muhammad. So I don't know where they got second from. Like, why is it second? Shouldn't that be first? And then third kalima, subhanallah. So these are just like, I think they were structured in this way for kids to memorize. So, and then what happened is that later on it became sort of like just a norm. People thought these numbers, you have to memorize these numbers in this particular order. Yeah, so I think that's how it is. So there's nothing in the early scholars that ever mention any number next to any kalima. I think Dr. Zakir Naik even mentions the numbers next to hadith, but he doesn't mention the numbers next to kalimas. Yeah, so I think this is more of an Indian subcontinent thing. You won't find it in like English printed books. You'll find it in books that are translated from Urdu or Bengali or other languages. Ta'limul Haq, I think does Ta'limul Haq have it? Amina Mufsab, you're completely different in class. You're scary. MashaAllah. Sharia, yes, 6 kalima. Panjam kalima raddi kufar. Yeah, go on. What's the rest of it? Panjam kalima raddi kufar. You shout the raddi kufar out loud when you're a child. No, we didn't used to do that. We just used to say it, man. We never knew what it meant. All right, let's look at some questions in Curious Cat. Are the sunnah acts of Jummah only if we are going to pray Jummah congregation? From a fiqh point of view, yes. So, for example, the Jummah ghusl, the bath of Jummah, according to Abu Yusuf, is for the salat. So, therefore, if you're not going for the salat, therefore, the Jummah ghusl isn't really recommended. I mean, obviously, being clean is recommended all the time. So, I would say possibly, yeah. And some Hanafi say no. Say it's recommended whether you're going to go for the Jummah or not. So, there's two sort of like views on that. Is it against the sunnah to blow food? No. No, it's not. So it's like this, yeah? Like that. So I think that was disliked because according to some of the commentaries of the Hadith, that was disliked because when you're blowing into food, it might put other people off. Or if you're going to blow into food, then you're going to pass it on to someone else. They might get put off that drink. Yeah, so I think that's the main reason. Otherwise, blowing into food wouldn't be a problem. Is it wrong in Islam for the wife to call the husband by his first name? No, totally fine. I mean, it's all to do with culture as well. I mean, some cultures, like a lot of Indian subcontinent cultures, not everyone over there, but a lot of cultures, like subcultures, you have they find it shameful to mention the husband's name. They might call him like in Pashto, it'd be like Tata Mama. Yeah, I'm telling you, oi, you, which sounds very rude. Yeah, or so and so's dad. Yeah, Liaquat's dad. So I think it's just like they feel a bit embarrassed for calling that name. But in some cultures it's fine, they just call him by the first name. Yeah. I don't know. What is it like in your cultures? Do you guys call your spouses by their names, or do your parents call their wives by their names? Are women allowed to cut and dye their hair? So as for dyeing their hair, yes, it's allowed. As for cutting their hair, then there's two positions in the Hanafi school. One is no. Strict position is no, they're just allowed to trim it. And the other position is as long as it doesn't resemble men's haircut. Probably not the place to ask, but your madrasa, is that part-time Alimia course different to the full-time? In the sense of number of hours, yes, different. In the sense of the depth of the content, yes, different, because you got more time. And types of books, some of the books they don't teach in the part-time, which are in the full-time. But yeah, otherwise everything else is the same. Yeah, everything else is the same. It's because part-time, it's spread over more years. So part-time is about 9 years altogether. Whereas the full-time for about 5 or 6 years. But the core books are the same. So if you did the part-time very well, you can be at the same level as someone in the full-time to a degree. The only difference is that the guys in the full-time would have much more exposure to teachers. So they have more contact time. MashaAllah, Curious Cat is all done. Alhamdulillah. Okay, have you ever heard Sheikh Imran Nazar Hussain? Is that the one who talks all day about Dajjal and Ya'juj Ma'juj and everything in the world is a plot? And is that the one? I've heard him a few times. You get a bit bored after a while, unfortunately. Pehla kalima tayyib mana pak. Dusra kalima tamjid. You know those say the Tatawama ones. Assalamu alaikum. Was Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam 24/7? No mercy to the worlds. Do you Nabi Sal? Because you get complaints indicates you are doing something correct. Some folk confuse style with intent. Yeah, I agree totally, 100%. That's the way, bro. I totally agree. I think some people, I mean, I know there are some people out there who actually have labeled me as Salafi, as deviant, modernist. What else have they got some like nice names for me as well. And I think some of these guys watch my live streams. Yeah. So if you're watching, hi, hello, ahlan wa sahlan, enjoy the live stream. And it's just unfortunate. I think a lot of people haven't really kind of like met me or anything. So when a person doesn't really know someone, it's very easy to create this image about them and then just like call them what you want. So yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens. But don't worry, guys. I forgive you guys. Yeah, those of you guys who are saying bad things about me, I forgive all of you, inshallah. Sharia, do you remember fourth and fifth? For fourth kalima, I know is the fourth kalima this one? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Now I get confused. Is it the additional wording of wahdahu la sharika lahu? له الملك وله الحمد بيده الخير? Is that those extra wordings, or is it just لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك والحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير? That's why I get confused. Was it Charam Kalima Shahadat? Is it that one? I can't remember, When we were kids, it was like being forced to memorize these kind of like Urdu words which you didn't know what it meant, because Urdu is not my language. And I was thinking, oh, what is this? This must be some holy language that we have to learn it. Bob in Seleti Bengali, it's Are Onre Ni. Hey, are you listening? Are Onre Ni. That's a good one. Are Onre Ni. That sounds good, that is. Are honre. Honre. Honre is like sunre. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? Eh? You listen to me? Imagine that came on like something like a BBC article came out, report came out. These Muslim husbands don't even call their wives by their names. Yeah, like they call their wives derogatory terms like, are you listening to me? With the subtitles. Are they on any? That would be mad. And then Muslims like coming out with a like a what's it, like a statement, joint statement from all the mosques. Okay. Right, next, Mobeen. What books of Aqidah do you cover in part-time? So in part-time we actually have Sheikh Yasser Hanafi. He actually comes and he teaches some Aqidah books. I can't remember exactly. I think it's Aqidah Tahawiyah and some other Kalam books as well that he teaches. So we don't really kind of. I mean, in the full time, I cover a lot of the fiqh section. So the fiqh books, I focus on those, fiqh and usul. And then we have other teachers who focus on nahu. So we're trying to get teachers who are specialized in a certain area just to focus on all the classes, those particular books, so that we can kind of like provide the best sort of explanation for that particular subject, rather than having like different teachers teach different things, and then the teacher's not really kind of like confident, specialized in that particular area. That's what we're trying to do. Allah's day of judgment is enough for real. Yeah, definitely. Yuhi wa yumit, extra in the fourth kalima, I think. Oh, is it extra? Yeah, that's what I get confused with. I remember as a kid, the teacher tell me off. No, like I get confused. Ashhadu an la ilaha wahdahu. When do you use wahdahu la sharika lahu? When do you not use it? that was like the trick, like in your madrasa life when you were kids, maktab life. That's the kind of trick areas that you gotta know this. Is Mufti Abu Layth your friend? Yeah, I know him very well. Haters gonna hate labels. As long as they bring me some nice cakes to my house, yeah, some nice cream cakes, and for me and Safura, yeah, for me and Safura. Just in case Safura's watching, he's probably asleep now anyway. From the woods, are you doing any courses on Arabic for beginners? So I have a course on my uruk.com website. It's called Quranic Arabic 17 Lessons. So check that out. That's £50 for the entire course, and it's designed for just people from scratch. From scratch it's designed, and you have in there like other things as well. Like you get support as well. You got WhatsApp group for both men and for women as well, separate. And there's TAs that help out. Homeworks will get marked. Alhamdulillah, we finished all the questions. Allahu Akbar. Look what time is. It's only 10:30. MashaAllah. So yeah, guys, that was today. Maji, we should have gone for a bike ride today, man. You know what? I just looked at the weather today and I was just thinking to myself, so nice. Okay, my tea's finished as well. So I'm just thinking, I've got time. Shall I make the matcha tea now? What do you think? Do you guys think I should make? I'll actually make a separate video in it. I don't want to rush it in the live stream, and you know what I'm saying. And then live stream cuts off, and then halfway through. Yusuf Ali, is that for understanding Arabic or reading? Understanding Arabic. It's for understanding. Mubin Mufti Sahab, if you don't mind, could you share the part-time syllabus? Part-time syllabus, I mean, there's quite a lot of books. So, from the top of my head, first year, you have Quranic Arabic, you have Sarf, you have 40 Hadith of Nawawi, and you have fiqh, right, which is based upon the teacher's notes. So that's in the first year, part-time. Second year, then you have Nahu, you have Sarf, you have Zad al-Talibin, you have Qasas al-Nabiyyin, then you have fiqh again, a little advanced fiqh, a bit more advanced, and Quran. And then in the third year, you have Nahu, you have Sarf, you have Quran as well again, and then you have Quduri starts, and then you have I think you have, is it Zad? Yeah, Zad as well, continues. Then in the 4th year, you have no Nahu in the 4th year. I think it's finished in the 4th year. And no Sarf. Then you have, I think it's Qiraat al-Rashida. Yeah, Qiraat al-Rashida, Quran, Quduri. You have Aqidah Tahawiyya. And I think you also have, I think it's Hadith, Ijra as well. And then there's 5th year, 6th year, 7th year. Yeah, and like slightly advanced. 5th year goes into Hidayah and Quduri as well. 6th year then goes into Hidayah again, and then you have the Dora years. Amina, Mufti Sahib, why don't you teach that course live again? It's so beneficial. I don't know really. I mean, I think it's time. Because a lot, see, that course, what I found with that course was students prefer it when it's more pre-recorded than it is live. Because I used to find that students after a month used to just drop out and they just like prefer to just watch the recording than being there live. So that's why I found that kind of course. It wasn't really a kind of like a. It was better. It was pre-recorded than it was live. That's my conclusion. So some mutakallimuns do not believe in cause and effect. Why? Yeah. So like Imam Abu al-Hasan Ash'ari. Yeah, because there's no like categorical evidence to prove that every cause has an effect. And this is actually in modern science. This is actually what many scientists actually say. They say we probably think that this effect is due to this cause, but we can't be 100% sure. Yeah, this is like a new sort of like movement in the science field. I was speaking to someone about it. They were saying this is the new sort of trend in science. Oh, you're at work. Inna lillah. Don't worry, bro. Tomorrow. And check in Asufa website. Yeah, check Asufa website for that. Hasib, Ustad, can we pray Salat sitting down if we were out or trying to find a way to reading standing and how to pray? Yeah, so if you're out of your house, you have to pray standing unless you can't, like there's no space to pray standing or it's heavy rain and your clothes are going to get extremely dirty if you were to pray in the rain and there's no shelter to pray. Then you can pray sitting, right? Then that would be allowed. Otherwise, if you watch my Quduri videos, so in my videos I've made Quduri videos and I've explained in there about the salat of the one who's ill, who sits down. And if you're on a train or something and you can't stand, there's no like, they don't allow you to stand, then you can sit down and in any direction you can pray. Or likewise on a plane. So if you're in a vehicle and you can't stop, then you can pray sitting in the vehicle. Does a tea making video come? Greetings from Germany. Ahlan wa sahlan from Germany. I forgot the words, man. How do you say? Guten Tag. What else? Audi. On a joke. Yeah, so videos gonna come over, inshallah. Matcha video tea making will come and you will see me making the matcha tea. Tomorrow is raining all day tomorrow. Oh no. Then we're gonna have to do it in the week sometime. Can Juma Salah be read after Mithl Awal? According to Imam Hanifa, yes. Mufti, do you like Sheikh Hamza Yusuf? As in, I like listening to him. I mean, it's good to listen to, yeah. I don't mind listening to him. I mean, to like him, I don't think I'm going to be getting married to him. So, I mean, I don't really kind of like, you know, when people say, do you like this scholar? Like, or you like this person? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what does it mean to like someone? Is enjoying someone's talks, does that mean you have to like them as well? Like, you might like someone's talks, but you might not necessarily agree with. Yeah. So I don't know how that liking philosophy works. Oh, you got me into philosophy mode now. Has the stream been clear today? Has it been running clear? Has it been synced correctly? Or is it a bit slow? I can't tell. Yeah, hopefully it's been good. Allah. Like equals endorse. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. See, yeah, that's why I don't understand this idea. I mean, sometimes you might like someone's post, but you might not like that particular person. Does that make sense? Crystal, alhamdulillah, Allah. Crystal, remember Mystic Meg? Is it her, Crystal? Crystal. Abid Hussein, ahla wa sahlan. Crystal, bro. Thank you very much. Sharif, assalamu alaikum. Some of your recent uploads seem to start not at the very beginning, like part is missing. Yeah, the short ones, yeah, those short clips. I think there's a problem. So basically I'm trying a new technique of trying to stream it. Yeah, so it's like, I don't think it's like kind of coming out right. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm gonna try to sort the bug out. I think we should do some riddles as questions are all done. Yeah, questions are all done, guys. Questions are all done. It was excellent, mashallah, jazakallah khair. I mean, as a scholar, not as a person. I mean, I haven't really kind of read enough to be able to see his scholarly level, but he seems good. Yeah. Book review. Oh yeah, book review. Mashallah, you were like the founder of the term book review on this live stream. So yeah, we'll do a book review. How did the Hanafi madhab come to the conclusion that combining the prayer is not allowed, if that's the right conclusion? Yeah, so the Hanafis basically said, the Hanafis approach is that you look at what the Quran says first. So because the Quran has said Salat has been appointed at fixed times, that's why they say all the Hadith that are not at the same level as Quran have to be interpreted in the light of the Quran. So there's no Hadith that explicitly says that the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba to combine the prayers in one Salat time, apart from Muzdalifah and Arafat. That's the only one. Besides that, we don't find the explicit term. So that's why they say that following the Quran is more clear in this context. Whereas other madhabs, they say no, you can use Hadith to interpret what the Quran says. You can like basically edit what the Quran says with the Hadith. What's the best book for sarf? Best book, I mean, at the moment, I think if you've seen my YouTube series, Understanding Sarf, check that out. And a very good book, I would say, is Treasures from, is it called Treasures from Arabic Morphology? What is it called? From the Treasures of Arabic Morphology. From the Treasures of Arabic Morphology. It's an Urdu book that was translated into English. Yeah, from the Treasures of Arabic Morphology. Muhammad Zahir, Islamically, is it permissible to unfriend from people that are toxic? Definitely, yes. Friending and unfriending is totally permissible. Definitely. And if there's harmful to you, then I think you should do it. Is there any capital punishment for gustach person? So if a person is blasphemous, like if a person becomes murtad, is that considered to be had? Hanafi saying it's not had. That is considered to be like a punishment, which is, so you have punishments that are fixed from Allah, and Hanafi said there's about 4 or 5 of them that are fixed from Allah. Like we can't change those. And then every other punishment besides that happens in the community, right, or every crime, is left to the discretion of the judge, whatever he decides. If it's imprisonment, or if he lashes, or if he wants to, do whatever he wants, find them. Those are things that they can do. So as for someone who is blasphemous, or specifically to the Prophet ﷺ, then that person, if the person does tawbah, asks forgiveness, then the penalty is uplifted. So it's not considered to be a had in itself. It's not considered to be had. So it's not necessarily given capital punishment. It could be given a punishment that's fitting, that the judge sees fit. This is according to Hanafis, by the way. Yeah, other madhabs are stricter on this. You and Sheikh Hamza would probably argue over which madhab is better, Maliki versus Hanafi. Yeah, probably. I mean, I love Hanafi madhab. Yeah, I just love Hanafi madhab. It's just so interesting. It's so stimulating to kind of read the discussion that they have, and I enjoy teaching it. Sharif, I think actually I like teaching everything. But at the moment, the kind of thing that I really like teaching is Hadith's chains. Like chains in Hadith, sanads. and fiqh. Yeah. So those are the two things at the moment I'm really kind of enjoying teaching. Assalamu alaikum. Can you do a build your library list? Arabic. It's a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, that is. I'll actually make a note of that one, because that's a noteworthy comment there. So build your library list. At the moment, I'm actually working on a series for the Hanafi fiqh, like A to Z of what you need to know about the Hanafi fiqh. I'm trying to work on a series to make that for people who have a lot of these kind of just background questions about the Hanafi madhab, how it works and how do people give fatwa, and like what kind of books are used to look into which ones are considered to be acceptable, and how do they sort of like reconcile their difference of opinions. What do you guys think of that? So at the moment I've been working on that. I'm just trying to tweak some things in there, because I like to give my own kind of twist on it, my own sort of like Liaquat touch to it. How did Pakistan institute death for blasphemy, even though they are mostly... Yeah, I think, see, when it comes to governments sometimes have to look outside of madhabs. And that's a very common thing historically that's happened. Governments have adopted opinions outside the madhab due to circumstances. Yeah, so this could simply just be like a governance, an issue of administration and governance. Win that argument. HTID. That's the way, bro. That's the way. You guys are always supporting me with all your like placards and hunger protests. So can we reject the hadith if it goes against reason? It all depends what you mean by reason. Yeah, it all depends what you mean by reason, because some people might be thinking something's going against reason, but it's not against reason. It's something which, it's not going against reason, it's something which kind of like, it goes beyond reason. So the difference between something clashing with reason and something going beyond reason, like praying 5 times a day is not clashing with reason. It's beyond reason, like we can't understand why. So one is we can't understand, and one is it clearly clashes. Like reason would be 1 and 1 equals 2. And if a hadith says 1 and 1 equals 3, that's clashing with reason. Hanafi till I die. Oh, that's what HTID means. I thought HTID meant something like Hizb ut-Tahrir in disguise or something. What does, as a research scholar, the mechanics do? Kind of self-answering, but humor me. What does a research scholar, the mechanics, do? There's that question. What does a research scholar do? A research scholar researches, kind of self-answering but human. Okay, so research scholar, basically it depends actually what he's researching. So if he's actually doing research, then he's trying to find things by, deductive analysis, in trying to come to some sort of conclusion about a particular thing. So it all depends on what he does. Like if he's obviously going to be doing something physical, he's going to be physically using his hands. If he's going to be doing something mental, it's going to be mental. So it all depends what you mean by research scholar. What does he do? He could be drinking tea. If he's a research scholar, he could be drinking tea and he's a research scholar. He could be, doing live streams. He could be running up and down the road like a madman. He's a research scholar. Imam Abu Hanifa was the man of reason, such a great intellectual. Definitely. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Like yourself, I have long hair. I have heard it's okay to tie the hair as long as you don't imitate women. Yes, so it's fine, yeah. So like this, you mean? Like that. Yeah, so it'd be fine. If it's like a ponytail on the top, we'll try to avoid that. Like kind of ponytail, like having your hair right up there at the top. But otherwise, I kind of use it generally just to keep all my hair together. Otherwise, hair starts falling and then it's not very nice. And it just makes me seem a bit more neat and presentable. Yeah. And if I had my hair out, it just looks a bit rough. I don't know what you guys having prefer me having my hair out or having it tied up. Sharif, is elephant meat halal? This is an interesting one. This is because Imam Muhammad, he says elephant is haram because it's kind of predatory animal. So yeah, they kind of say it's makruh. Yeah, but technically it's a herbivore, isn't it? So it should be fine, really. It's a herbivore, should be fine. Yeah. But Imam Muhammad says it resembles a pig because it doesn't have that kind of neck as a normal animal. I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure about the elephant. I mean, I think, can't remember properly. I think it's considered makruh, tahrimi. I'm not sure. How was the critical examination of hadith by Imam Hanifa different from other approaches which become popular? The thing is, we don't have a explicit record from Abu Hanifa about how he used to critically analyze hadith, like from A to Z. We don't have that. So at best, we're speculation at our best. But if you want to read more about this, actually go to YouTube and type in Dr. Suhail Hanif and Hanafi Hadith. Just type that in. And there's a whole like section. There's actually a recent one that's come out by Sheikh Maulana Bilal Ansari. So write down Maulana Bilal Ansari, Hanafi Hadith, and it will come up. And it's just, I think it's just been put up yesterday or the day before. And it's a very in-depth, detailed understanding. So if you have studied, I mean, I don't know, Yasin, if you've studied Usul Hadith. If you study Usul Hadith, it's very, very easy to understand. If you haven't studied Usul Hadith, then you might struggle. Yeah. Dini wise. So research scholar, the mechanics. Dini wise, you mean like, I don't know, he's probably praying salat. Research scholar prays 5 times a day. We should be. Yusuf Dawood, ahlan wa sallam, alaikum assalam, ahlan wa sahlan, welcome. You're a bit late, Yusuf, but better late than never, I say. Better late than never. Okay, Sadia, I finished Alimiyah and now at uni I want to progress both in Islamic and secular studies, but struggling. I teach a Sanatain course, but that's more revision than progression. Any advice? Yes. What you can do is maybe you can do like a course. I think MP's mentioned something here. White Thread Institute teach postgraduate courses. So if you're, I think in London, I don't know, do they do it online? If you're near London, then maybe that might be a good option for you. Otherwise, I would say is one thing you can do is get a hold of other like-minded people that are at your level and go over a book or something. Like start with Nahu, or start with Sarf, or start with Usul, or Quduri, or anything, and start going through it and try just discussing it with each other. And that helps a lot, trust me, because when you have to discuss it with the other person and explain it to them, they kind of like test you. So they might say things and you might get stuck, and then you're going to have to go back and research. So it kind of gives you this sort of like critical thinking mindset. So yeah, try that definitely. I mean, otherwise you can start a project or something. You might like want to start a project on how, let's say, for example, like let's say if you're into Nahu, what's the history of Nahu books? Just make a timeline for yourself and collect as many Nahu books in history as you can, put them on timeline, and then learn a little bit about them. And then this will open up to you so much, like so many resources of Nahu books that you learn so much yourself. And I think in madrasa, that's one of the things that students are not given access to, which is they're not told beforehand what is expected of them in every science, right? Except for when they say Fawzud Darain, that you study this science because you want success in this world or the next. That's like a general sort of objective, but you want like a more specific. What's the point of studying Nahu? What do you want to achieve from it? And then what's the background to Nahu? Like what have scholars written? What kind of books are good for what? I think if students were given that background, yeah, and a third thing as well, the history of scholars. So these kind of things I think are very important. Like where scholars came in history, what were their contributions to Islamic heritage of our tradition. I think it gives a lot of students confidence in being able to like understand. Otherwise, what tends to happen is students, like every year, every book that they come across is just totally new to them, right? They have no sort of like munasaba with these books. Please leave elephants alone. Okay, bro. Which ones are you talking about? Those the ones that the one in Africa, the ones in India, the different types of elephants. So if we study everything for the sake of Allah, like science, psychology, cosmology, is it ibadah? It will be rewarding, definitely, yeah. Sheikh Google says it's makruh tahrim according to some Hanafi ulama and haram according to others. Yeah, so according to Imam Muhammad it'd be haram, and according to others, yeah. I haven't really kind of like researched this in full. The thing, this is another thing, zoology. Maybe someone can write a paper on this. It'd be good, Maybe Amina, you can write a paper on this. Hanafi madhab and zoology. Because if you think about it, classical understanding of zoology, of how animals, because we don't have anything in Hadith to say eating an elephant is explicitly wrong, not allowed. But maybe you can do some research on this, come up with some new sort of like understanding. I don't know. Of Google says then it's qat'iyya. Yeah, definitely, exactly. I was thinking as well. It's just like that's it. Quran, Sunnah, Google. Lizard meat and the whole family of beast are okay. Whole family of beast. What are you on at, bro? Sharif, bro, just either stop what you're smoking, or just smoke something else, bro. Yeah, because I don't know what you mean by beast, eating beasts. Lizard, according to Hanafi, not allowed. You can't eat lizards. Yeah, the other madhabs allow it. Actually, in fact, Imam Tahawi actually allows eating lizard. So if you take Imam Tahawi's position in eating a lizard, tell me how it tastes. I don't think, because the Prophet ﷺ was actually, he went to someone's house for dinner, and they said, "Oh Messenger of Allah, by the way, this is a lizard," and then he said, "I don't want to eat it." So then the other Sahaba, Khalid bin Walid, was there. He goes, "Oh Messenger of Allah, shall I not eat it as well?" He goes, "No, it's up to you. You want to eat it, you eat it. But it's just not the food of my people. I mean, people in Mecca, we're not used to eating lizards, but people in Medina used to eat it." So that's why the Hanafis say that you're not allowed to eat it, because although he showed dislike to it, and then later on he sort of like said in his lifetime, he said predatory animals, you can't eat them, and they're like predatory. But other madhab say, well, if you let Khalid bin Walid eat it, then it's allowed. Studying philosophy dangerous before having a strong understanding of Ilm Kalam. Definitely, I agree. All elephants should be off limits. They are dying. Gold XCC. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's what you meant. Definitely. Yeah, do not kind of start on Lozad's Road, some sort of like elephant cafe or something where you're eating like different parts of elephants. No. M. Shah, Assalamu alaikum Ustad. I just seen your surf videos. Great, mashallah. My son has autism. Request that you do Zad al-Talibin with Tarkib, inshallah. I've actually got a course. It's called the Arabic Grammar and Tarkib course. Arabic Grammar and Tarkib. It's on my uruk.com, and I've actually selected about 40 hadith from Zad al-Talibin and some other places, and I've done Tarkib of all of them and explaining the Nahwu as well. So you can check that out as well. So it's on the at the bottom. If you look at the bottom, it says uruk.com. Yusuf, my grandma is old. Would she need to sit in Iddah 4 months, 10 days? Does she still the full? Yes. So if she is able to move around and things, and yes, she sits. But if she requires to be moved from house to house, then she wouldn't have to observe that. Yeah. So if it's difficult for her, then whatever's easier for her. Jazakallah khair, very insightful. We'll keep it in mind. I'm studying psychology and hope to create a link and more research between psychology and Islam. Excellent, mashallah. May Allah make it easy. That'd be excellent, definitely. I think like a lot of madrasas, they fail in certain areas from my own observations. One is, for example, they don't keep up with the pedagogy. Like they don't see the need of investing in training up teachers for new methods of teaching subjects. And I think sticking to that kind of old method of thinking, because we learn like this and our teachers learn like this, the assumption that they learned in the same way, I think that's kind of impacted the whole understanding of education on students living in the West. And definitely psychology, I think that would be definitely very helpful, especially when it comes to things like sihr, magic, and influence, the effect of the sihr mindset in the UK, blaming everything on black magic or on jinns, and on mental issues and how people approach things, the mentality, I think that's a very, very good, definitely. May Allah make it easy for you. A priori, Assalamu alaikum Ustaz. Do you think that there are some types of mujtahid scholars alive today? Yeah, definitely. Mufti Taqi would be one. Sheikh Yusuf Qaradawi would be one. Sheikh Nizam Yaqubi would be one. Probably Sheikh Salah Abul Hajj most likely be one. Yeah, definitely. Best to go vegan. No, that's not a joke. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna laugh at that. Yeah, please do not make vegan jokes here, because when you laugh at someone, one day it's gonna happen to you. Remember, people tell you that if you laugh, your parents tell you that if you laugh at them, one day it's gonna happen to you. So if you laugh at vegans, one day it's gonna happen to you. And S. Hussein is not here to kind of back up the whole vegan movement here. So we don't want S. Hussein to be here. Sounds like a job for a research scholar. Why did Imam Abu Hanifa say sea creatures are not permissible? Is it something to do with the gills? Yeah, it's because Allah in the Quran says the dead carcass is haram for you. And then that includes all animals from the sea that die. And when the Prophet said that fish are allowed. So when he said fish are allowed, that meaning of fish, whatever that shaped fish is. Yeah, so the Hanafi say we just stick to the shaped fish. Considering the farming of the meat and lack of organic options, yes, probably best to go vegan. No, I'm going to delete that comment. I'm going to delete all the comments that I'm going to put in like YouTube. Tell YouTube, please, any comments that come into my, with the word vegan, yeah, just blank them. Elephant biryani, cafe coming. So now, what is classified as laughter in salat? So laughter in salat is like two types of laughter. One is like loud with someone else. If someone else was next to you, they could have heard you. And one is just like giggling inside, where person outside can't tell you're laughing, but inside you can tell. Have you read Ibn Rushd? Depends which book. Which book is? There's two famous Ibn Rushds. There's the grandfather and there's the grandson. If someone is completely unable to do wudu by himself, is he still obligated to pray? You can do tayammum. Can you do tayammum? Yeah, so if you can't do wudu by himself, can you do tayammum? That's the question. The philosopher, not the jurist. I've read some sections of his work, not like in detail. Great, Jazakallah khair. He has greatly benefited. I will definitely look into that. May Allah reward you. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Amsha. How much should mahar dowry be? Whatever you want. Basically whatever the wife wants. I'm into veganism myself. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for that horrific insight into your life. From the woods, many men are scared of marriage. What would you advise? Many men are scared of cats. Many men are scared of spiders. Many men are scared of mice and rats. It's just something that, it depends why they're scared. What's the reason for that fear? Sometimes people just need a push. Like you just need to throw them in the deep end and then get used to it. Are you recommending reading list for youth of today? I think Brother Hamza Zoti's book, The Reality of God. I think that is something which is very important for youth of today. I think that kind of and language is very nice to follow, and the translation of the Quran as well, definitely. And Martin Ling's The Seerah. These are kind of books I think that with youth you don't want to give them too much academia. What you want to give them is like a spiritual confidence. Yeah, spiritual confidence is very important in the youth, because youth are very emotional people. So you need to tap into that emotion. But when it comes to like academic sort of like arguments, that would be left to people in their late teens and 20s maybe, because that's when they emotions start to plateau, and now they can start thinking. MP can no longer be trusted. No, he cannot do tayammum by himself. Regarding the question earlier, if you can't do wudu, if you can't do tayammum, then in that case, Imam Abu Hanifa says then he doesn't have to do wudu. He should just imitate the actions of salat. That's until he gets better, and then he repeats those prayers again. And the Sahibain would say that if there's someone available to be able to help him do tayammum or something, then they should help him. If a man has two wives, the concept of soulmate dies. I don't understand. Islamically, there's no concept of soulmate, like in the sense of like the English concept of soulmate. And what would be the case if he would be able to do tayammum? Then he'd have to pray. Yeah. Not necessarily one of them can be a soulmate. May Allah bless you, Shaykh, for all your efforts. Ameen. What's a godmother? I don't know. God doesn't have a mother. I think that's a shirk. Are you talking about the Western concept? Western concept of godmother? Yeah, I think it's just like someone who you kind of make like a guardian. Like if something happens, that they'll take care of the child. Of someone has many years of prayer, what do you recommend him or her to do? Try to make them up slowly, bit by bit, one by one. Try to make them up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Allah. So yeah. Anyway. So I think what tends to happen a lot is a lot of people, they learn about this soulmate thing. They read a lot of like Western sort of like books, and they kind of come out with these concepts, romantic kind of concepts, and they think that's how the husband and wife should live their life, or that's how it should always be, and in the hereafter this is how it should be as well. So yeah, I mean, some Sahaba had, like one Sahabi, he had 15 wives. 15 wives he had. Like he divorced one and married another, divorced one, married another. Yeah, so I don't know which one is going to be the real soulmate there. Yeah, Mills and Boone, that's the one. That's the one. You know it, bro. Yeah, you are like the Dalil when it comes to books, Maji. You are my Dalil. You are like my Mufti when it comes to advice for younger teens on their Ilm Alimiya journey. For younger teens, I would say, just see, the thing is, I don't recommend young teens like before the age of 16 learning Alimiya course. I think it's not healthy for them, as in they're gonna get burnt out in the Alimiya course later on. But if someone is in there, then I would suggest try to focus on understanding the concept as best as you can. I would say that's what I would say, because it's difficult. Because Alimiya course, imagine that someone teaches a 12-year-old medicine, right? So it's not really kind of fair on that child, because it's too much advanced. The topic's too advanced. Astaghfirullah. That's it. I make you guys do istighfar. Look at that. One is always a soulmate, even if there are 100. Yeah, okay. Philosophy. That's the philosophy. If you want to believe in that philosophy, that's fine. Okay, so I'll show you guys a book then, yeah? Let me just show you guys a book. Yeah, if I can get it without falling off. Right, so this is a book that I got recently. This is a book called The Quran and the Just Society. So it's like The Quran and the Just Society is written by my friend Raymond Harvey. He's a Muslim. Dr. Raymond Harvey. Is a revert. And he basically wrote this book. It's like kind of showing what is understood to be justice from the Quranic point of view. So he talks about topics like the Quranic ethics, moral narrative, theology, hermeneutics, historical context. He talks about political justice, politics, peace, war, how the Quran sort of looks at that. He talks about distributive justice in trade, in charity, marriage, inheritance. So all these kind of topics that you kind of look into the Quran and you're trying to understand the justice that's underlying. And then corrective justice, he calls corrective justice public crimes, private crimes. Yeah, so he discusses these topics. So I've just started reading this book. It's quite interesting. I mean, you got to kind of know what you're reading. Like, you got to be interested in reading these kind of topics. It's not like a book that you can just pick up and it's just kind of like grips you. Yeah, so it's not that kind of book in that sense. So you have to kind of know some things from before, maybe some questions about justice and things like that, and then you're going to find it interesting. Yeah, so this is the book. So MP, I did book review. But the Prophet loved Khadija more than Hazrat Aisha. I think she loves Sayyida Aisha more. Can you do a book reading club? Justice Society is early DC superhero. Oh yeah, Justice Society, where's that? Oh yeah, in DC, isn't it? Yeah, Justice, isn't it called Justice League or Justice? Can you do a series on the 5 pillars of Islam one by one in your great way of teaching and detail? I've actually done some of it. I mean, I've done crash course on zakat. I think they do a crash course on tahara, purification. So I've done purification. I've done on zakat. Salat I haven't done. And fasting. Have I done on fasting? I think I've done on fasting, haven't I? Check through my crash course. You can see some of them. But yeah, I think, yeah, definitely himmat. That would be good. Himmat. Am I pronouncing it right? Himmat. Himmat as in aspiration. Is there an Arabic technical term or terminology that describes the choices we as humans have to make daily, like right and wrong? Ikhtiyar, probably. Yeah, ikhtiyar. Ikhtiyar, maybe. Himmat, yeah, ahsan. Beautiful name, nice name. Have you ate any mice pie? Oh, mince pie. Because like animals are on my mind with all the questions. It says I read that as mice pies. Have you ate any mince pies yet? No, not yet. I've got a lot of neighbors who are Christians, or not Christians, like celebrating Christmas, whatever. And I don't know, they haven't like given anything yet, but I expect they might be giving. So I hope it's like halal food. Justice League is Superman, Batman, Justice Society came before. Oh, Justice Society. Yeah. Okay. Didn't know that. So who's in Justice Society then? Is cryptocurrency halal? I mean, read what Mufti Faraz Adam says. I don't really have much reading in this. So if you type in Mufti Faraz Adam, he's got like whole articles on this. Can we give gifts to Christians on Christmas? It's a very tricky kind of concept. I think it would be best to avoid unless it's like something where it's maybe in an area which is going to promote sort of like Muslim cohesion with non-Muslims. Yeah, it's going to make the relationship stronger. Then there might be scope for that, but otherwise it should be avoided. So the Hanafis basically say when it comes to this kind of festival, they talk about Niroz, which is like a Persian festival. And they said, if a person gifts on that particular day something that's only given on that day to honor that day, that's not allowed. So therefore, when a person gives like a Christian a gift on Christmas, it's not because they're honoring Christmas. They're like, it's an opportunity for them. I see as an opportunity for them to show kindness to their neighbors. Yeah. So it's not like the Muslim's giving it because he feels, whoa, it's Christmas, and in Christmas it's like really sort of like good to give something, and it's like So if you're honoring Christmas in that particular way, that would be impermissible. That's what the Hanafi Fuqaha sort of say in the classical books when they're discussing like a specific non-Islamic festival, like another religion festival. So they say that if it's a specific thing which you're giving out of honor for that day, then it's not allowed. But I don't think Muslims give their neighbors gifts because they're honoring Christmas. JSA had some dead heroes. Lol, second-rate ones. Is it like the in football teams when they have the what they call the class B or the class C? What they called one of the ones that when the proper professional players are not playing, they come on to promote Islam and create. That could possibly be a reason. Start with hifz or younger and then do alim course when you're mature. Yeah, I agree. That's definitely something I encourage. Anyway, all questions are finished. I'm gonna finish there, guys. So Jazakallah khair for that wonderful session. I don't think there's anything else for me to discuss. All questions have been answered. Yeah. And Sandman, Hourman, Atomman, these guys, I think they got fed up of, they lost all of their inspiration in them days. Sandman. What does Hourman do? Does he like change the time? Atomman, is he like Ant-Man? Can you tell us what are required of men when it comes to modesty? Allah Hafiz, take care, inshallah. So this is a big topic, inshallah. Maybe next time, inshallah, next week, if you come on next week, inshallah, yeah, then we can discuss this topic, inshallah. Alright guys, so Jazakallah khair. I will see you guys next time. Is the tafsir lesson tomorrow? Yes, inshallah. So tomorrow it's Surah Yasin. We are continuing with Surah Yasin near the end, inshallah. So join us. Hopefully I'll try to cover more than one verse in the whole session. 9 p.m. UK time, inshallah. So yes, Shema, there will be tafsir tomorrow. Why are pounds abbreviated lbs and ounces in the USA? I was gonna say because you guys can't spell. Well, that's under the belt, guys. Yeah, so I won't say that. I don't know. I probably just what's the history behind it? My message was too long. Oh, it's too long. Yeah, next time, inshallah. Yeah. So if you can send it to me on Curious Cat. Send it to me Curious Cat. Or maybe, yeah. And then next week, inshallah, we can look at it. Jazakallah khair. Ahlan wa sahlan. MashaAllah. As usual, guys, I really enjoy all your participation, all of your kind, help and support for this channel. May Allah bless all of you guys. And also, your jokes as well. Some of your jokes are very sort of like comforting because it makes my jokes seem much more superior. Oh, the joke. No offense to anyone. Again, look, I don't mean to offend anyone in any way. If I kind of like say a joke or something, or if I do kind of maybe laugh a bit more, I don't mean to insult anyone or make fun of them in any way at all. So no offense, guys. Jazakallah khair, Sadia. Sharif sound like a job for research scholar. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. From the woods, there is a good book called Fiqh al-Haya. Okay, Fiqh al-Haya, yeah. Ah, interesting. May Allah reward you. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, Shema. Okay, Jazakallah khair. May Allah reward you. Keep us in your du'as. Ameen. Alright, so Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.